You don't have to be harsh on yourself because the world will do that for you.
I have a question. The thing which I find very difficult is staying away with family, and I have very low emotional quotient, so that affects that some. Otherwise, I am very dedicated towards my work. So, what would help me to build on my emotional quotient?
Help me dig deeper.
Yes.
What's the number one reason you think you are low on EQ?
I think I start crying. Like if my manager will say me something, I'll start crying in front of the entire universe. I think I start crying very easily. And yeah, that is it. And I feel lonely away from home.
Okay, all right. Those have nothing to do with EQ. Okay. So let me first try and give you a sense of what EQ truly is, and then we'll get to what you are experiencing, which is a very real emotion as well. So EQ, Aditi, will be all about you having the ability to understand your own emotions and thus the ability for you to understand everyone else's emotions. So the ability for you to empathize, to step yourself into someone else's shoes, to realize what is it that they're going through and why possibly they could be going through what they're going through, that is EQ. It's very hard to get to because most of us don't even know why we're feeling what we're feeling. Like we are such poor judges of our own emotions, let alone figuring out कि किसी दूसरे इंसान को कैसा लग रहा है और क्यों लग रहा होगा. So that is EQ. And it's understandable then why it is very important for a leader to have EQ, because if you want to lead a team, it is critical that you understand not just your emotions, but those of your teams as well. Why do they feel what they feel? When do they feel what they feel? So on. So your boss, for instance, should be, if they are with high EQ, will be like, you know what? Aditi is someone who literally wears her heart on her sleeve, and she tends to emote and tends to maybe even break down if she's in a situation that is hard, that is stressful. So I have to deal with her that way, which is I will make sure that I never do anything to pinpoint or make her feel bad in a crowd, and make sure that I never say anything which comes across as an acquisition but is more like an opinion. I have to ensure that I never say anything which comes across as a fact. It should always come across as a feedback, so on and so forth. Right? And that is how ideally your boss should behave, should they get to know you very well and of course have high EQ. Okay? Now let's coming to what is it that you go through. So you shared that you feel lonely from away from home, which is a very understandable thing. There's nothing wrong about it at all. That's what you should feel. You're a human. You should be alive in that sense. And you tend to, at least in your admission, you tend to break down if someone comes hard on you, or someone you just find yourself flustered and so on. The the way that I will encourage you to think about this, and you're clearly very young, and it's wonderful that you are at least self-aware of this is something that you would want to question and resolve. One is, don't add a bad adjective to this. This has nothing to do with EQ. Okay, so let's just call that this is being Aditi. Don't add a bad adjective to being Aditi. The minute you start accusing yourself, putting pressure on yourself, making it sound like what you're going through is wrong and you should fix it, you're constantly under the pressure of, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? And you will never get to a point, because the world is as it is harsh. You don't have to be harsh on yourself because the world will do that for you. So you have to be very kind to yourself. Don't put yourself into these negative adjectives. Ask yourself instead, in what situations does being Aditi not help? This is me. This is who I am. This is who I am. In what situations does it not help? And then you may find, you know what, it doesn't help in A, B, C situations, whatever the case is. Then go to the next step, which is, in those particular situations, is there anything that can help me that I know of, that someone tells me, that I can remind myself, so on, so that in that particular instant, I am able to just absorb what is happening and not react.
Yes.
So focus on just that piece. Don't focus on your life and your identity and your personality in general. कि मुझे अदिति जो है उसको बदलना है, क्योंकि कोई बदलने की जरूरत नहीं है. तुम बिल्कुल सही हो, तुम बिल्कुल अच्छी हो, तुम में कोई खराबी नहीं है फ्रॉम द फेस ऑफ इट. इट इज जस्ट there will be some situations where being you doesn't help, and there you just have to fix that particular small piece. That's it. And if you dig deep, you will find that out. You will find that answer. You're smart enough to find that answer. Ask your friends, ask your family, seek advice, try out a few things, but essentially don't put the pressure of solving this entire piece for you. Be very focused on this is the small situation, circumstance, context in which I need to just be in control. That's it. Does that
Thank
make
you.
sense?
Yeah, it was very insightful. Thank you, Ankur.